Hey there, everybody. Welcome to a new America's Got Talent reaction. And this one, it's a little bit different because it's not so often that I think we get someone like Daneliya Tuleshova performing on this show where, we can kind of look at her and be like, hey, we know her. We've seen her on TV before. She was on The World's Best like just a little over a year ago, and here we are.
Yeah, and on top of it, she's so incredible, and this performance was so powerful that we felt like we needed to come on and do a video just talking about her, because we will have a reaction later for the whole show, and we didn't want to end up spending the whole time talking about her, because that is what was going to happen, because this was a really great performance.
We're going to get into everything, but before we do, if you do like this video, give us a like and subscribe to the channel. We have a lot of America's Got Talent coverage coming, and the best way to stay up to date is hitting that notification bell. And, really, the thing with Daneliya is we did see her a little over a year ago, and I've wondered for a long time, because The World's Best, it legitimately had a lot of the world's best talent on it, but it was not the world's best show. Like, the show itself was not great, and I kind of wondered, are some of these people ever going to migrate over to AGT? And I think we found a pretty good representative of the show in Daneliya, who's done other shows too, but she can just sing like nobody's business.
Her voice is so powerful and so big, and they kept using the word cool over and over again, and it's such a good word to just explain her, because when she first came out, I was just like, man, for 13 years old, I get that she's a little bit nervous and stuff like that, but she does come across as someone who's just very cool, and then with a big, beautiful voice like that, this is someone that it feels like other young women her age are going to be able to look up to.
The thing that I really kind of found myself gravitating to throughout a lot of this, just because there was no way AGT was ever going to surprise me with the big reveal of, oh yeah, she's a great singer. We know she's a great singer. We've heard her before.
Yeah.
It was more, okay, what are they going to have her do? Is she going to go up there and do, some slow ballad, which we know she's capable of? But I like the fact that she did Tears of Gold, mostly because I don't really know this song all that well, and, I don't have a lot of hair, which means I'm not altogether hip with a lot of other stuff, and it felt like the song was younger and cooler, and something that actually, someone her age might be into, as opposed to something that feels like it is 50 or 60 years old.
Yeah, that was something that Simon mentioned that's really true. The idea that you get really young singers, and then people who are much older than them are giving them these songs to do that don't necessarily fit with them or fit right with them, and they're still beautiful singers and they're able to pull these songs together, but this song felt like it was right for her. It sounded like this is a song that she wrote, that was written for her, for just not just for her, but sort of like you said, for that age group, bit younger, other young girls that can kind of feel that same sort of feeling that comes out of that song. Like, it was good. She was able to make some good choices with that.
It felt a lot like she was someone already who had kind of gone through some of the lessons that we have talked about in these videos over the years, starting first and foremost with, just because you're a great singer, it does not mean that piles of money are going to start raining down on you from the heavens, because there are millions of really good singers, and there's a lot fewer than a million people who are obviously as good as Daneliya is, but you have to have that extra sort of gear. You have to have that ability to be a really good performer, or be emotive, or stand out, and I think she's sort of reached this point where she really understands this, and she's being kind of very careful with how she presents herself, the songs that she chooses. trying to be a little bit more memorable.
Yeah, I feel like with she is young, but she has experience. And I think with this experience, she knows who she is as a singer, as a person. And that makes it easier for her to pick the good choices that she knows are going to be good for her so that she can give us performances like this. And the other thing about her that I really like that does make her stand out is she just feels very relatable. Like, yeah, she's got a very kind of cool factor to her, but she does also have kind of the nerve. She feels like just kind of this really cool girl that everyone would want to be friends with.
That is not something I can relate to.
But it is for me. As a young girl, she would be the type of girl in high school or, you know, just before high school where I'd be like, she's just kind of this cool girl. And not like the popular mean girls or something.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like the legit cool girls that just are who they are, and they make no apologies for who they are. And that's what I feel off of her, and that is something that's going to make her a star, because that is that feeling that we all want in ourselves, is to, you know, feel confident in who we are, and if you don't like it, oh well.
I'm really curious how many people who are watching America's Got Talent tonight also watch The World's Best and are kind of familiar with her, because usually when we have sort of international contestants on the show, their kind of claim to fame is, okay, I was on Asia's Got Talent, or I was on Britain's Got Talent, or some other, you know, show that I feel like a lot of us in this diehard community on here on YouTube, we're often familiar with them, but I feel like a good 95% plus of the viewing public is not. But I think with her, I would wager maybe at least 10 to 15% of the AGT viewership watch The World's Best. Could that be an asset to her? It is a built-in fan base, plus also being a young singer where you sort of get a lot of fans just right off the top because you're relatable and it's a craft that a lot of people love.
Yeah, and that's a criticism that I hear with this show that I don't agree with, is people that come onto the show that have already been on another show. I see that a lot, even here in the comments, or something like, oh, they were already on Whatever's Got Talent or World's Best or anything else. To me, that doesn't matter. This is still a new audience. I've never seen them, so they're new to me. This is a new, different type of competition. And even if you're coming in with people who already know you, who are fans of you, why is that a problem? It still shouldn't be a problem. I mean, we have Vincent Marcus on this show, who's been a Viner and has 500,000 people following him on Instagram. I don't think that takes anything away from his performance or what he's doing. And for me, it feels the same in this situation as well. If she's got people who have already heard what she can do on YouTube or on World's Best and they love her, great, that's great, and I love that.
It's because if we're starting to kind of become, you know, talent mitigators, where we're like, okay, what have you been on? This disqualifies you, that disqualifies. We would disqualify Vincent. We'd also disqualify Amanda LeCount, who is on this episode tonight, who also has hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers. Like, there are a lot of people on this show who already have something.
I mean, the reality of it is if you have a talent like that and you sound like she does,
people are gonna notice.
People are gonna know.
Yeah.
She's not just singing in her backyard for nobody, and nobody's ever discovered except her mom that she has this beautiful voice. I mean, she will have been in other places, and I think that's a misconception of this show or any competition show, that this is like a brand new, this is the first time anybody's ever heard of this person. And I think once we kind of dust that off and we're just looking at talent, it'll put us all in a much better headspace, because then everybody is still kind of on the same level in this competition.
The only thing I can think about, and this is not a criticism on Daneliya, it's more on the sound mixers, I wish they had sort of dialed down the backing track, like just a hair on it, because at times I felt like it was trying to like just do battle with her, and it's just sort of like, let her win, because clearly she is so good, she doesn't need the backing track like up as loud as I think they had it. But I think vocally she's great. Like, she's beyond great. The challenge for her is just, you've got now Roberta, who we talked about last week, a Golden Buzzer, Archie Williams, who has one of the most powerful stories in the history of America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
I don't know who is going to reign supreme from the singers, but this is a tough year to be a singer on this show.
Yeah, it's a really tough singer to be on this show this year. There is a lot of talent, and we're not through everybody yet. I mean, there's still more to come, possibly, right? I mean, we just don't know. And yeah, I agree. The music, the backing track was a little bit loud, and I wonder if it's because she does have such range, and when she hits those high notes, they are smacking you. They are powerful. They are big, that maybe they just kind of had it loud for the whole time because they were like, she's going to hit these notes, and once she hits these notes, we got to be ready for it.
That's possible.
So my hope is that she will take the advice of Simon, judges, that she'll bring in something that's maybe a little bit more dialed down so we can hear just how powerful her voice is, and whoever's back there mixing the sound and just knock it off.
Well, all right. Well, let's hear from you guys on all this, because if you watch the world's best videos, you already know how we feel about Daneliya. But what did you think about her performance tonight on America's Got Talent? Share in the comments, and if you like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking the link in the description to the store, and we'll see you here next time.